This is Jake Stainer. So he's currently head of performance marketing at Typeform, a company that's grown extremely rapidly with online surveys. So he's carefully honed his understanding of SEO and sort of SEM and conversion rate optimization over the last years. So you have there a really, really nice profile of somebody who's mixed digital marketing with statistics and conversion rate optimization and behavioral psychology. I think in his session, Jake's going to focus on awareness, so more top of the funnel. And he's going to show us how to acquire leads on Facebook through something that works extremely well, which is giveaways and quizzes, which might sound a bit generic, but can be extremely powerful for your company on a discovery platform like Facebook. So I'm going to hand the floor over to Jake. Jake, take it away, and then please ask your questions in the Facebook Workplace, and we'll try to leave some time to answer the questions at the end. Take it away, Jake.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you. So hey everyone, let me share my screen. My screen is shared, correct? Cool. Yeah. Okay, great. So as said just before, so my name's Jake and I'm head of performance marketing at Typeform. And for those of you who don't know, Typeform is a way to collect data online in a conversational way. With Typeform, you can do so many things. You can collect leads, you can create surveys, quizzes, etc. But of course, you're here to look at how we can collect leads on Facebook through quizzes and giveaways. So let's have a look at Facebook today. Okay, so what's the state of Facebook today? So in 2016, Facebook was the most used app with 146 million people. There's definitely a lot of people using Facebook, followed by Facebook Messenger and YouTube. So if you want to capture a large audience, Facebook is the place to be. Facebook's targeting has one of the best targeting in any other ad network out there. So if we think about SEO, for example, SEO, anyone could visit our website when we're targeting keywords. Paid search is a bit better. We target the intent of the keyword. With Bing, you can start to target the demographics, the age, the gender. But with Facebook, the targeting is much better and you can do laser focused campaigns. You also have LinkedIn, which is great as well, but LinkedIn's super expensive. So if you want to reach a large audience with highly targeted ads, Facebook is the place to be. So another advantage of Facebook is the cross-device conversion data. So if you're tracking your events, for example, in Google Analytics, you'll see that Google Analytics is session-based. It stitches sessions together, but it doesn't stitch the users together. And recently, Facebook launched its Facebook Analytics software, which allows you to build funnels. You can look at your events, and it looks across device as well. So it's a major advantage. So when you're doing your event tracking on your product platform, check out Facebook Analytics, and it's much better than any other tools out there right now, in my opinion. So before, what we mostly measured is we looked at page views. So one of the metrics as marketers we looked at in Google Analytics was page views. How are the page views or unique page views, new users growing month on month? This was our metric. But now what's happening is we're starting to look at a metric called pixeled audience. So in Facebook, we can create an audience. For example, we can look at all of the website visitors that we've attracted and call it pixeled audience. And we can measure this month on month as one of our leading metrics, because with a pixeled audience, we can retarget this on different networks. We can retarget on Facebook. And if you're building this audience in Google Analytics as well, you can retarget in AdWords, etc. So the new metric is pixel audience. It isn't page views. So this is really important to take into account when looking at a leading metric that you have targets against. So there's 3 million advertisers on Facebook right now. So what does this mean? I was looking at Google Trends, and every single month there's more and more people looking for Facebook ads in Google. I mean, I've got some contacts and they're building their agencies around Facebook ads. It's in demand. There's loads of people advertising on Facebook. So the biggest question right now is, if Facebook is the biggest platform to advertise on, it has really good targeting options, but there's so much demand and so many people wanting to do Facebook ads. The question is, how can we break through the noise? How can we create something, ads, which attract people's attentions, yet have a low cost per click so we can meet our goals? So the simple answer is, we need to create unique content. We need to make something different that other people aren't doing. So most people, when doing Facebook ads, they might take their landing page for doing on paid search and they try and make it work on Facebook. But Facebook is completely different. It's a completely different network. So we have to approach Facebook in a different way. So as you've seen in this talk, what we're going to be looking into is how we can create giveaways and quizzes as a way to generate leads in Facebook successfully. So throughout, I'm going to be talking about Typeform as an example, but you can use any tool out there to create quizzes or giveaways that you feel comfortable with. However, Typeform is super easy. So let's have a look. So the first thing is, I was doing a lot of research at Typeform and I wanted to understand what were the main differences between people who made a quiz Typeform and people who made a giveaway Typeform. So the first thing I wanted to understand was how could we look at which one got the cheapest cost per lead, right? So to look at that, I decided to look at completion rate, the amount of people who start to fill out the viral quiz or the giveaway, and then the people who complete it. So as we can see here, I analyzed over 2,000 forms, quizzes, giveaways for each one, and I found that giveaways had a higher completion rate. But it's really important to understand that you can't just make a giveaway and expect to get a 55% completion rate. You're not going to convert 55% of people who land on your giveaway and then give you their email address. I mean, giving an email address is about an exchange of value. What value do you give them for the email address? So with a giveaway, there's always a price, right? But when people do a quiz, they expect to give you their email address for the answers. So if we put this into a model, let's imagine that we spend $500 on ads on Facebook. And on average, we're getting a 25-cent cost per click, okay? So what happens is both a viral quiz and our giveaway, we're both going to get 2,000 clicks on each one. However, as we saw before, on average, the completion rate of a quiz is 51% and the completion rate of a giveaway is 55%. So we're going to get more leads, more email addresses on our giveaway and less on our quiz. So overall, if we take into account our $500 ad spend, let's assume we spend this, we're going to get a cheaper cost per lead on a giveaway than a quiz. But as I mentioned before, with a giveaway, you always have to offer some kind of prize, hence the name, right? A giveaway. So I was looking around and I saw that some other companies such as AppSumo, who they also have an app to do giveaways, they had a giveaway which was WinBuffer, which is a social media tool, WinBuffer for life, right? So worth $6,000. I mean, I don't think you have to go to the extent to give a prize worth $6,000. Think about the product or service that you're offering, and you could offer that as the prize. Or think about your target audience you want to target, your potential customers, and think what kind of product or app would they really want, which would increase that click-through rate on that Facebook ad. Because the higher the click-through rate on your Facebook ad, the higher your relevancy score in Facebook, and Facebook's going to really reach more people if your ad is more relevant. So how can we find something which really is relevant to your target audience? So here, what I've assumed is that to do a giveaway, you spend on average more or less $500 for your prize. So if we re-input this into the funnel that you saw before, so with the $500 ad spend and the $500 prize, what happens is our cost per lead increases naturally to 92 cents, which is not as cheap as the quiz because the quiz doesn't have a prize, which is the main difference, right? So what's important to notice is that as we spend more on ads, the cost per lead is going to decrease on the giveaway because we're only ever going to spend a fixed amount on the prize. So as you can see on this graph, assuming that we spend $500 on the prize, we start to level out on the cost per lead around $3,000. That's not exactly cheap. So if you have a low ad budget, a giveaway with a prize worth a lot of money isn't going to be the best option for you. You'd have to really offer a product or service that you already have or opt for a quiz in this case. So also something really important to look at is that Facebook, we know it's a social channel. We know that if you spend money on Facebook ads, you almost always get an organic uplift. So people are going to share, they're going to comment and include people's names in there, and they're going to like it. And other people on Facebook are going to find it. So what I wanted to know was, if you were to do a quiz or a giveaway, which one were to get the most shares on Facebook? So I had a look around, I did an analysis, and it was interesting. I found that quizzes actually got more shares. So if we look here, quizzes on average per 1,000 submissions, so 1,000 people who submit their quiz, they got 13.5 shares compared to a giveaway, which got 2.8. So I thought about this a bit more, and it made sense because if you're doing a giveaway, you're entering into a competition. You don't necessarily want your friends to enter and have a chance of winning the prize as well. So this mitigates the virality that a giveaway could have. So if you want to make something more viral, what this data is telling us is that by making a quiz, you're going to get a lot more shares. So I inputted this into our model, but now into a table because there's lots of different metrics. And now I'm assuming that you're spending a bit more on your ad spend. You're spending $5,000 on a viral quiz. As you can see, there's no cost per prize. I'm keeping the average cost per click the same at 25 cents. So they average both at 20,000 clicks. We've got the completion rate, so the amount of people who give their email address at the end of the quiz or giveaway, as the data we saw before. And then we see the lead to share ratio. But as we can see, even though you're spending $5,000 on ad spend on a quiz, you're only going to get on average 138 shares. I mean, this is an average throughout the 2,000 and so forms that I analyzed, the type forms I analyzed. But this is dependent on so many different things. So imagine the copy you're using in your ads and the quality of your giveaway or your quiz. Are you asking people to share? So there's lots of different metrics taken into account which can really boost the virality of your quiz or your giveaway, which we'll look into later. So we can see here that actually with a low ad spend, the virality of your quiz or giveaway is quite minimal. You really have to spend a lot of money in ad spend to really get that impact of that virality. So another thing which quizzes are really good at compared to giveaways is that you can segment your customers through really clever question choices. And we know that segmentation is super important. If we're showing the same message to all of our audience, we're likely not going to convert all of them. So let's have a look at what I mean. So I was looking around at different quizzes, and one of the most successful quizzes that got the most shares, the most views, the highest completion rate was the type of quiz which said, what type of blank am I? So if we take the example of an e-commerce store, the quiz could be called, what type of shopper am I? Okay, so think about your business or the product, the service that you offer, and what could you fill in this blank here? For example, if you're targeting growth hackers, like this conference, it could be what type of growth hacker am I? And you can start to understand your potential customers, understand what their interests are, their pain points, so that you can segment them after. So let's take the example of a shopper. Okay, what type of shopper am I? So the idea is at the end, we give them an answer. They're this type of shopper, they're that type of shopper, and they can share that with their friends. But for example, let's imagine we ask them my favorite color. Okay, this is quite a simple question that we can ask them. We can say what my favorite color is, and they might say, hey, my favorite color is green. Okay, now we know a bit more about our potential customer who just clicked on our ad. Okay, and we can say, when I'm shopping, my eyes are drawn to. So we want to know what type of product they're interested in. I guess this is really geared towards e-commerce. But if you have a service, or if it's B2B or SaaS or something different, then the questions are going to be quite different. You're going to be asking not what type of product do they want, because we don't have an online store with loads of products. We're going to be more interested in their pain points or what they're trying to achieve. So this is trying to give us clues to aid our marketing. So here, for example, let's imagine we say we're into watches, right? So before we said green, now we said watches. So a green watch, right? So you can see how this starts to work. So why is it important to really understand your customers through a quiz indirectly? I mean, personalization in your messaging leads to a higher conversion rate. So let's imagine your email sequence you want to send people afterwards. So you've captured your leads, you've done your quiz, it's gone into your CRM software, and now you're ready to send out your drip campaign. Okay? So let's imagine you have an e-commerce store. What's the difference between sending everyone the same generic email, come back and shop at our store, compared to come back and shop for watches? And some of the watches could be green, or we could have asked them different questions like, what's your favorite brand of watch? So now, by delivering people more tailored content, they're going to click through more in that email, and they're going to convert more as well. So really, the challenge is understanding our potential customers and using a quiz not only as a way to break through that noise on social media, but as a way to understand and segment our customers. So we can take this further. So we can segment our customers on our product. We can tailor the messaging of our product. We can tailor the different retargeting campaigns that we launch, similar to the email ones. So really tailoring that messaging depending on the type of questions that they answered. The more we understand our customers, the more we speak to them, the higher the conversion rates we are going to get. So this is the anatomy of the perfect lead gen quiz. So I've chosen quiz here. So I think quiz has a lot more benefits than a giveaway. So let's look through them. So my biggest tips are create a what type of blank am I quiz to really brainstorm and think of what type of quiz you can make with this type of question through social media. Use 7 questions max in your quiz, because I was doing a lot of digging and I found that after 7 questions, people usually drop off. Conversion rates plummet after 7 questions. So try and keep it short, 7 questions, and don't make it too long. Because we know that the longer the form, the more questions you have, the higher the drop-off there is. Okay, so before I was talking about lead generation is about a transactional value. So what can you give them in exchange for their email address? So here, the idea the idea with a quiz is to give them the results of the quiz. So as I just mentioned, ask questions to understand the customer pain points and address these in the email follow-up sequence and your retargeting. This will really boost your conversion rates, which is super important for your growth. I mean, ask users to share at the end to increase virality. So what this means is, imagine you send them their first email with their results. Hey, here are the results of your quiz. This is the type of shopper you are, for example. Now share on social media. Maybe give them an incentive, like in exchange, like here's a coupon or here's something in exchange to share it. Try and think of a way in which you can go beyond just collecting leads and doing ads. How can you make it even more viral? How can you get even more people into your product, into your platform, into your store? Okay, so really this looked at quizzes and giveaways and some data, some real data at Typeform between completion rates, which ones get the most shares, and how we can really personalize the messaging by asking clever questions to boost conversion rates. So what I wanted to give you is that with this in mind, when you're launching your Facebook campaign, here are 5 Facebook campaign tips that you can use today to really make your campaign a lot more successful. Let's have a look. So the first one is don't make your ads look like an ad, okay? So here's an example of a bad ad on the left, and on the right you have an example of a badass ad, okay? So the ad on the left uses a lot of call to actions like, hey, come and join today, build your network, reach new audiences. Hey, when we're doing ads in Facebook, it's a lot different to doing ads in paid search or ads for SEO, because people don't have the intent. They're not looking for something right now. So we need to really attract them in a different way. So we need to offer them a lot of value first when they have that first interaction with your brand. So here's an example here. So with your quiz, we're not trying to sell your product. We're not saying, hey, come and buy some watches, come and buy them. Here's a coupon. We want to get someone to interact with our brand. We want to understand our customers. We want to get their email address in a way which is appealing to them. So one of my biggest tips is don't make your Facebook ads look like an ad, right? We're really used to doing this. We make landing pages, etc., but we need to make it not an ad. And this really is one of the biggest kind of secrets to really scaling on Facebook. And Number two is you need to think about your dream customer. Who is your dream customer? I mean, what kind of demographics do they have? So when I mean dream customer, you could also say your persona, your customer avatar, they're all synonyms, right? But I like to say the word dream customer because we're trying to think about if we could get any customer, who would the dream one be? How can we target them? Who is the person who is going to stick around the longest and pay the most for our product? So we need to do a lot of groundwork here to really understand who they are. So we need to map out what software are they into, what celebrities or online influencers do they follow. I mean, what books do they read, what blogs do they follow? And I think it's not enough just sitting down in a room and having a thinker and writing some things down. You really need to try and speak to your target audience. How can you survey them? How can you find them on Facebook groups, online forums? How can you even ring them, email them? I mean, the key really is to be close to your customers and understand who they are. Because just thinking that we know who they are, we're not going to get the biggest results possible. So really, when you've brainstormed all of these different circles here, use this as a framework and turn this into your Facebook ad campaign. Make every one of these an ad set. So build these as audiences in Facebook and see what the reach is, see what the potential audience size is. What I recommend is you go after an audience size on Facebook of at least 400,000 people, because you want to have a big enough audience which will allow Facebook to optimize against. I mean, if it's too small, it's going to burn out fast and you'll have to be finding more audiences. So try and get big audiences as so. And what I also suggest strongly is that you have at least 5 different audiences when you start an ad campaign. Don't start with one audience and then one ad and see if it works. Start with at least 5 to 10. The more you have, the better. And I'll explain why in the next couple of slides. And always split test. So when you launch a Facebook campaign, always have at least 3 different ads in every single ad set. And I suggest A/B testing the image first because the image really has more weighting than the copy. I mean, I've worked with a lot of campaigns and this is true. Try different images, try close-ups, try people, try not having people, having something completely different, try animals. I mean, try different things to see which your target, your dream customer is going to engage with, right? Okay. And the next big tip, number 3, is always do conversion campaigns. I mean, I've seen time after time, people create a campaign on Facebook and they go, we want clicks, we want traffic, let's go after link clicks, you know? But the trick here is how can we use Facebook's algorithm to optimize for us, right? So the idea is that every campaign is a conversion campaign with the exception of small audiences. So if the audience you're targeting is 50,000 or less, you need to do an impression campaign because there won't be enough people in that audience for Facebook to really optimize for conversions. But with a much bigger audience, do a conversion campaign, right? So for example, imagine you're launching a quiz. The conversion would be the people who complete the quiz, the people who leave their email address. And now Facebook's not trying to get clicks from people. Facebook's finding people likely to give you an email address. So over time, Facebook will decrease this cost per lead and you'll get a lot more emails for a much lower cost per lead. This is a big thing. Always try and do a conversion campaign. And if you do decide to use Typeform compared to any other tool out there to make quizzes or giveaways, right now with Typeform, you can't copy and paste your Facebook pixel into Typeform and it tracks the conversions for you. But what I've done is here I've included some code which you can use. It's a 4-page embed and it's really simple to use. You go into Facebook in the pixel area, you paste in your pixel ID in these 2 areas in the code, and then you copy and paste your Typeform link. So from the HTTPS all the way to the end, you paste in here. And what this will do is when people complete your Typeform, it will send a lead, a standard event to Facebook, and you can optimize this in Facebook to get even more leads. This is the key for a scalable campaign on Facebook. Break your dream customer into lots of different audiences, 5 to 10, and do a conversion optimized campaign. This is really key. So number 4, so imagine you've started your campaign, it's running, and just after 500 impressions of your ads, Facebook is going to tell you your relevancy score. It's a score between 1 and 10. Okay, you should be aiming for a relevancy score of 6 and above. If it's below, then there's a mismatch between the ads and your target audience. And if there's a mismatch, then the relevancy score is low and your cost per conversion is going to be super high. And that campaign is not going to scale on Facebook. You're going to have to do more mining of audiences to understand who to target. So as you can see in this diagram here, so imagine you've been running it for 2 weeks. Now it's time to really turn off all of the ads and ad groups which aren't working and really start to double down on what is really working and what's scaling on Facebook. That's really key, because the first stage, you shouldn't be thinking, hey, in the first 2 weeks we're going to be profitable, we're going to have a super campaign. The first few weeks is about really understanding what works. What does where's my audience? What do they react to? And then the second stage is, hey, how can we scale this? So that's really important to take into account, because a lot of people don't look at it this way. They think that they can launch a campaign and in the first week we're scaling, it's profitable, we're ROI positive. But the reality is the first stage is finding out what really works. So my last tip for Facebook, number 5, is remember the funnel. So this is a slide from the Facebook Fast Track program. So this is a funnel which Facebook drew up. It's super simple. I mean, there's lots of different funnels out there, like the Pirates funnel, like the AARR funnel. There's lots of different ones, but this is just a 3-part funnel. It's super simple, but it's super powerful. So what we were looking at right now is we're looking at this awareness and love stage. It's like the lifestyle stage of your brand. I mean, the aim here is to get someone to interact with your brand for the first time. We don't want to talk about your product. Sorry, we don't want to talk about your service. We just want to get someone interested in your brand. We want to create a hook to hook people onto your brand through this first stage. And this is how you're going to get a high relevancy score on Facebook. Because if you start talking about your product and the pricing, no one's going to react to that without knowing your brand first. This is the second stage. So once you launch your quiz, you get your leads, you get people interested, people kind of know your brand. Oh, I heard about these people before. The next stage is do a retargeting campaign, which is the consideration stage, which combines like a bit of lifestyle, a bit of commercial together. And I really recommend at this stage you start really introducing your product to the people who you pixeled before, right? So the pixeled audience metric, and really telling them about your product, about the problem it solves, and how it relates to them. And if you launched a quiz, and if you segmented your quiz with different clever questions, then you can do different ad groups to segment your potential customers to deliver them personalized messaging about how your product can solve their different problems, right? And then the last stage is, of course, the conversion stage. This stage is where people have had interaction with your brand. They know what problem you solve. They understand what products you offer. But this is when you really say, hey, come and purchase the service, or come and purchase the product, right? This is more like more of the cart abandonment stage, where we might offer them a coupon or another reason. We might give them some social proof about other clients, right? But launching that quiz or that giveaway is really this first stage in the funnel here. So before finishing, I would like to recap. So quizzes, you don't need a prize. It's not time bound. You can run a quiz and it can be an evergreen campaign that can run day after day, week after week. You don't have to end it. Quizzes are more viral. They get more shares, and you can easily segment your customers through these clever questions, which are super powerful in retargeting, email sequences, and messaging in your product/platform. Giveaways are different. You need a prize, but a prize doesn't have to be expensive. You can offer a product that you already have, or a product which your target customer, your dream customer would really want. Giveaways are time bound though. They have to end at some point. So you have to keep relaunching giveaway and another giveaway to keep rolling your audience in Facebook. They don't get as many shares as quizzes, but they get a higher completion rate because you're giving them that incentive to give them a giveaway. And to recap with Facebook, don't make ads. really offer people value. People want value. They don't want to see ads on Facebook. They're not looking for a solution. I mean, you want to give them value first and get them clicking and understanding who you are, landing on your brand. Map out your dream customer. Really speak to your customers. Don't think you know your customers. Speak to them, survey them, ring them, email them, ask them questions, map them out using the framework I showed before. I mean, this is super important. So many different brands or businesses are so scared, like, oh, we don't speak to our customers. We made that landing page and the copywriter just wrote some copy, but we didn't speak to the customer. We have to start thinking like this. We have to start thinking that we need to speak to our target customers more to really aid the copy and the content that we're making. Use conversion campaigns, get Facebook's algorithm really working and doing that hard work for us. Double down on what works, cut out any of the low relevancy score ad groups that you made, anything that isn't working, and scale what is working, double down. That's where you get big growth on Facebook. And what I briefly mentioned before is, remember this 3-part funnel. It's simple, but it's highly effective. So thank you for listening. And I guess if you have any questions, feel free to post them on here, or you can contact me on LinkedIn. Thank you.
Am I back on? Yeah. Nice. Hey, Jake, thanks a lot. It's always really nice to have insights from somebody who's actually in the trenches, actually doing this on a daily basis. I think we have time for one question. We ran a little bit on the timing. I think it's a good question because a lot of people are going to ask themselves, is this the right solution for me? Is this the right tactic for me? So this is somebody who's tried quizzes before, but the audiences that they acquired did not convert into sales. Would you say that there's certain product types or certain audiences that are more likely to convert to sales or not to convert to sales?
I mean, I think it depends on what you do after you acquire the leads. I mean, if you do a quiz and you acquire that lead and you expect them to just come back and purchase your product, or you send them a coupon, say, hey, come and buy, the chances are they're not going to come and buy, right? Doing quizzes is a lot different to, for example, doing paid search ads where people have that intent to come and purchase your product.
Yes.
I mean, with this kind of audience, there's a longer nurturing cycle that you have to do. The conversion windows are longer. So you have to place different pieces of content in front of them to really allow them to understand the problem you're solving, and giving them like real life case studies or social proof from other customers. So really it's about how can you create that follow-up sequence through email or retargeting. So I think that's the key here.
Okay, listen, thanks a lot. We've also had a lot of success with this in the past.